Delilah just appeared. I'd never met her before, but she came from Zurich today, and she's going home to London today. I mean, it's a mysterious world we live in, this world of possibility where people take huge risks and do weird things like jump on planes and trains and travel long distances, and it's kind of exciting to be part of that, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of not normal. It's great. I love it. And I said, Delilah, why did you come? And she said, I don't know. Just she wants to be around, which is great. It's called being open, being available. Delilah, come closer. So you're only going to be here a very short time. So come and sit here. There's a lovely seat here. She's trying to change her train so she can stay overnight. If she does, it's a little room. Come down. We love people to be close. As close as possible. Anyway, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to just jump about and have musical experiences and see. Well, we had a great day with the conductors today. It was an extraordinary breakthrough day. And I gather it was a breakthrough day with the pianist. We had a breakthrough day with the conductors because we discovered that conducting is about not conducting. Not getting involved in the stick and the conducting, but just allowing the body to feel the music and convey that to the players, and the players get released by that. And it was an amazing thing. We had a real breakthrough experiences all around. Should we try with the Elgar? Start with the Elgar? Would you start with that? That would be great. This is the slow movement of the Elgar Cello Concerto. And Aleksei is the most wonderful cellist. He played last year. Schubert, you played last year, didn't you? Schubert Arpeggione. And I was entranced by his playing. I requested the Elgar because I know he's going to play it absolutely exquisitely, and then I had something that maybe I can add to it. We'll see. And it's all right. Already interest to every musician, because everybody was amazed, stunned, beauty. I mean, it can't be more beautiful than what you just heard. But there's one element which I believe is missing. It's a profound element, and that is that I believe that all romantic music is one and above. And you are playing this in three. And so I want to introduce to you the idea. You don't have to accept it, but introduce to you the idea that this is really in one, and will create therefore a different feeling. So can we just look at that possibility? Would you allow me just to play just so that I can? What that means is that instead of where you feel each beat, you actually feel it in. So let's try and see whether we can make that happen. That's in three. I feel each beat. What I want the audience to feel is only one beat in a bar. So I'm going to help you with it, but it's hard in the orchestra.
what I mean about the one-button playing is you can only do that if you feel it horizontally, not each individual note. And it pulls at the heartstrings in a way that the other doesn't. The other is very beautiful, but this is heartbreaking. And of course, at the end of the piece, when it comes back, and it is the end of Elgar's life, and he's saying farewell to life and to his wife and to everything that mattered to him, it does break your heart. But here it's already setting that in motion.
So it's not a question of tempo there.
It is slightly a tempo issue, slightly. But it's mostly an impulse feeling. There's a point at which you can't do it where it has to move a little bit more. Than if you do this, do it the other way once, just the three in a bar. go home and listen to your recordings. You won't hear it like that. I don't believe you will hear it like that. There's an indulgence in the way of playing that is not true to the Elgar spirit. That was fantastic. It was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. It's easy. Rubato works in this very simple way. Rubato is a pulling of the time when something in the music requires it. You just pull it like elastic. When you let it goes back into the tempo that was already there, and it's self-evident. And we all feel music approximately the same way. Once we're set up in this way, it's one in a bar, then you take beautiful time at the top, and I take time and move and so on, but it's all within a context where you just simply take time in the music where it calls on time. That's the thing, it's a secret of it. And it never moves faster than the basic tempo. It never accelerates. It only pulls. It's like when you're driving. I don't know if you had this experience, if you drive in America, in the west of America, through the cornfields in Kansas, for instance, you put your foot on the accelerator and drive as fast as possible because it's so boring. That's the equivalent of the flight of the bumblebee. You just get through it as quickly as possible. This is like driving in the Swiss Alps, because there's so many things in the music that pull you and that are surprising, timings, harmonies, dynamics, and so that's what it is. It's this constant pulling and then releasing, pulling and releasing. And I'm going to say this again. I think it may be the most important thing that I ever say at the London Masterclass is all romantic music is one in a bar. And you could spend the rest of your life finding out if that's true. But it's a wonderful way of exploring music, that it's always over more than one. Each bar is like a beat in a 4-bar phrase. That's what this is. Anyway, you play it fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you. Other than another cello piece, that was what's next on the list. But should we have a song? Porgiamo. Who's doing Porgiamo? We've got Porgiamo and Dovesone, the two arias of the Contessa for the Marriage of England. Woo! Do you have an extra copy? You already have your own copy.
I should have that.
Yes. So this is Michel
Mallinger.
Mallinger.
Yeah.
Mallinger, not Mallinger.
Well, originally from Luxembourg, but I'm born in California.
So Michel, tell the circumstance of this song, because many of people in the room don't know what's happening to this poor lady.
Okay, so the Contessa, Countess is married to the Count.
Speak very clearly so that everybody can hear you.
The Contessa fears, and she's quite right, that the Count has a wavering eye for the other ladies in his court, in his house.
He's a
namely
philanderer.
Susanna.
He's a philanderer.
He's a philanderer.
And she knows it.
And she knows it. So now she's asking love to grant her peace or just to let her die. One or the other.
illustration of this young woman. Do you know how old she is?
I would say she's about 18.
Yeah, she's 19. We know she's 19. And imagine this life. She's trapped in a ghastly prison. She can't move. She can't get out. And she's full of self-pity. And she's totally self-absorbed. She finds herself in a marriage which is a ghastly, it's a horrible situation, because it's not that she suspects he's a philanderer. She knows that he's a complete scoundrel, and he's running after every woman in the place, even very young ones. He runs after Barbarina, who's 12.
Yes.
I mean, he's an outrageous man. And the whole idea of the marriage of Figaro is such an outrage. He claims the droit de seigneur, which is the right of the lord, of the master of the area, to enjoy the sexual favors of the girls who work on his property, even the night before their marriage. I mean, can you imagine such a... Well, and of course it's the last straw. It's the straw that broke the camel's back, really, of the French Revolution. And this piece was banned. This play was banned. They weren't allowed to show it because it was such an outrage for the aristocracy, and it brought the whole aristocracy down. So the context of this is a very serious one, a very deep and tragic one. And this is the song in which she expresses total sorrow. I believe that you will be served better if you get your orchestra to do it in 2 rather than in 4.
Exactly.
And it'll make all the difference, just as we were talking in the Elgar of the difference between 3 and 1. In this case, the difference between 2 and 4 is going to make all the difference. And it'll give you much more freedom, and you can express this deep, deep sadness, although beautifully in E-flat major, that he expresses the sadness of the Countess, because she is, after all, an aristocrat.
Yeah.
So she still keeps her poise, keeps her dignity, but it is heartbreaking. So if you can just do, even just if you just do the opening, and then we'll jump to here. In a 4-bar phrase, the first bar is always the heavy bar. If the music goes up, as it does in this case, and it goes to a appoggiatura, as it does in this case, it does not change the fact that the first bar is the heavy bar. So it creates a tension between the opening note, which is the impulse, and the pull that takes you up to the second one. And you can actually help if you go. Take away that. So this is you always begin on the one, and so. Just do it in one half. You're stuck.
Yeah.
This way you're free.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Same thing. Shira Shafir. Right? Shira Shafir. He's going to sing the other aria which the Contessa sings. In this one, she's become, in the first one, she's completely self-absorbed and totally depressed. And in the next one, tell us, Shira.
So, third act, and the Countess in the recitative, she is waiting for Susanna to arrive, and she doesn't arrive. They actually wanted to plan how to trick the Count later in the garden, and then in the aria, she lamenting actually her painful. She wants to get back to the beautiful days she had with her husband.
I said something to my conducting class the first day, which was that 95% of what is said is not heard. Can you tell me what this aria is about?
She is waiting and she...
You're not quite sure.
No,
Okay,
no.
all right. And what we normally do in such circumstances is say, I'm so stupid and I can't take anything. Actually, it's nothing to do with you. It's all your problem. If the world doesn't understand you, don't blame the world. So come a little closer, right? And tell them now really what's happening, and make sure you've got the attention of every single person in this hall, right? Look around. This gentleman here, for instance, he's particularly interesting. You notice he was there last night and he came the night before. He's never been in a concert in his life. He just wandered in here. So tell me now, what really happens here?
The Countess waiting for Susanna to arrive, for planning later how to trick her husband later in the garden, and then
Why does she want to trick him?
because he betrayed her.
Right, and so what does she want to do?
To write him a letter
Yeah, but what does she want to do? She wants
to catch him.
Right, to catch
In
him.
real
and
time.
to teach him a lesson.
Yeah. And then in the aria, she is lamenting her private, painful, and she wants to come back to the beautiful days they had together in the past.
Right, that's in the aria.
Yeah.
But in the recitative, she's extremely upset. Why is she upset?
Because actually the Count, her husband, forced her to ask from one of her servants for help. That's the main idea for the...
This is the problem. She's humiliated because this situation is so disastrous, so bad, that she's actually teaming up with her servant to find a solution, and she is deeply hurt by that in the recitative.
Right.
And then in the aria, she pleads to go back to the memories of her beautiful love together with her husband when they started out in life.
In Barbiera.
Right. Thank you. The lesson of that is to make sure that you never allow the people that you're talking to not to understand what you're saying. Don't allow that.
Susanna non viene, sono ansiosa di saper come il conte accolse la proposta. Alquanto ardito il progetto mi par, e ad uno sposo si vivace e
I don't think you quite get what a moment this is, the pause, because she starts off, you did it well, but I don't think you really get how powerful this moment is. Everything in the opera until that moment has been about her own problems. And suddenly at that moment she says, I can take over. I can actually run this thing. And there's a power, and from that moment on, she is in charge of the whole opera. Right? So there's a joy and an exuberance in the last part that you're not quite getting. And I would suggest a little bit faster. A real 4/4 allegro that goes like the wind. And in the main part of the aria, I would leave out all the fun things at the beginning because she's really distraught in that first. She's excited about the plot. She thinks it might work out. And what's wrong after all? All I'm doing is taking my servant's clothing. And what's wrong with that? I mean, that's fine. And then she suddenly realizes, oh my God, this is the most horrible thing that I'm being asked to do. How humiliating. Now comes the aria. And I think the aria can go a tiny bit faster also. It's into your way of doing it. But I think if you moved it a tiny little bit, is it marked Andantino? Yeah. And the other one is Larghetto, which is also a kind of Andante. So if you think of it, absolutely, you did it really beautifully. And I don't want to go with the whole thing, but I do want to do the join with the allegro. Should we just begin the Dove solo? And it's just so full of sadness, of nostalgia. Because at one time, these two were an ideal couple. And they had a beautiful relationship. And he was only absorbed with her. Where are these times, this beauty, the happiness that we had? Where's it all gone? Now let's do the join from where it returns. It still isn't quite right. It's still on the, if I may say so, don't take this personally, it sounds like you're the solo. It's too much like that. It doesn't give her the sadness of, do that phrase one more time. Very horizontal. Imagine just strings. The beauty about the piano is that it isn't an instrument at all. It isn't an instrument. It's every instrument. So we've got to create the illusion that these are just strings, just delicately touching, flautando near the fingerboard, that kind of thing. Just try that again. And very soft and deep into the sound.